welcome back to another video. This video is titled Trafficking Experiences. Okay, so it's the president, I believe the main presidents are that started the war with all cultures, but mainly African American people are John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln and Donald Trump. Now the color stands for Republicans, Democrats. That's the main gang related affiliations. Back then, your grandmother and grandfather were part of some affiliations with either Islam, some type of nation, Black Panthers, Christians, spiritualists, etc. This was because documents came out about the truth of our ancestors. The spirit was unleashed because of the KKK system and because of the repression of the brutality of the police, the corrupt government systems, and the presidential systems. They have always hated us. It will never change. The main point are they've assembled spies to tell the agencies who's been active, unactive locations, how much money people make, their relationships with different individuals, and this is controlled by the CIA, the FBI, and the agents of the undercover and secret societies. This was to break the unity of Blacks, Latinos, Asian, Hispanics, Portuguese, Chinese, but mainly to do an environmental study on how to separate the minds of the different human beings, to create distractions between them, to create distance between them, because we had been in poverty for too long, so we were beginning to reconnect with one another. Okay, and that says this created an environment that was saved by God, protected by spirits, and we grew taught talent and grew knowledge. We grew responsibility. We grew love, joy, compassion with one another. They needed the opportunities that we had. They needed us because the market was crashing. They secretly admire us but never say it. So they said, we are going to give you an opportunity of a lifetime. Lower taxes, lower rates, make you drink with us, but every time we develop a co-independence, that's when they told the spies to come, which are the gang affiliations or gang afflictions, to report back to them. Then that's why they created holidays and different opportunities to get back in our head and to get back in the opportunities that God has given only us. So speed up the process. They take those immigrants and they trade them off, which means sell them to America for research purposes, for labor purposes, for sex trafficking, for different reasons. Every country, town, and city knows that America is the land of the slaves, but the way that the American ads are marketing and distributing their lives and money, homes, etc., seems promising to the poor, seems promising towards the people that has been doomed to perish. Now the connection, if you haven't already found out about it, is that there is a trap with other countries and their connection towards the U.S. president. We are all labeled by districts. When we're reported towards the higher officials, they name the area code similar towards our zip code. We fight back. We must fight back. We must not lose hope. There has been many killings, violence, protests, but none has seemed to put an end on the missing children reports, on the missing teen reports, on anything that is corrupt world is doing on poor babies. I know we can fight, not by being silent, not by breaking and killing violence, not by forcing and not by resisting, not doing anything they want to create by creating our own rules. They're exposing themselves because they think that they will be forgiven by God. Whatever due to God's children and anointed ones, there will be a great calamity, separation, punishment, and division. Okay, so let me break down this because there's a lot of parts to this and I know y'all confused. So the first title is Trafficking Experiences. Now this has no evidence to it. This don't have no videos, this don't have no pictures, this don't have no any type of images, but you can always look this up. You can always do some more information or research on it, and you can see that, okay, I'm not lying. You can also do some research because you want to warn as many people to come together so we can fight, this cause, and we can end this case, and we can put this towards the national lawyers and the National Guards and the national fields of people, of scientists, of researchers, of individuals, so we can make a clan, okay? Now, trafficking has been here since slavery, okay? Trafficking has been here since slavery. Back in slavery, trafficking looks just like this. I'm going to sell them off for 3,000 euros, or I'm going to sell them off for 3,000 coins, or I'm going to sell them off for $5,000, or I'm going to sell them off for $20,000. And they just kept raising the prices. The more and more tea they needed, the more and more love that they needed, the more and more people that they needed cotton, they needed silver, they needed minerals, they needed gold, they needed iron, they needed this, they needed that. They wasn't getting love from themselves. They wasn't getting energy from themselves. They were claiming our energy. They were claiming our love. They were claiming our responsibilities. They were claiming everything that we had. We had absolutely nothing. We were stripped of our human rights, stripped of our national rights, and then stripped of every single thing that we ever learned about in religion and culture and just being ourselves. So we were stripped off. We were stripped from every single thing. Okay? This is what they took from us. Now, they're doing it again, but now it's called a different word. It's not called slavery. It's not called working. It's called trafficking. Okay? So, the people that don't want you in Europe, the people that don't want you in Egypt, in Africa, in Asia, in China, in just different parts of the earth or different parts of the world that you're not already in America. You're not already in America. I'm talking about the people that's from different parts of the earth, okay? Now, if you're not already in here, there are going to be a lot of people coming here, and this is because they're selling them off. They're selling them off as trading goods. They're selling them off to get whatever they're trying to get. Whatever information. I told you, it could be research purposes. It could be sex trafficking. It could be labor. It can be doing slave work. It could be anything, but you're here to serve the country of America because you're sold off, and that's how the trading so-called goods work. Now, they're labeling us as numbers. So you're not going to see this name, you're not going to see this, you're going to see a serial number, or you're going to see something such as a social security number. Now, the reason why they stopped using social security numbers is because they have already labeled all of us, every single individual on this planet. And every single individual on this planet is labeled as numbers, letters, signs, or whatever. And that's our code to get into the system of injustice, okay? And that's how they mark us down, and that's how they trade us. Now, who gets traded, why they get traded? Mostly the immigrants. The immigrants come here because they're either looking for a new opportunity or they're looking for some type of way to escape what they're doing in different parts of the world, such as Africa, such as Asia, such as China, such as South Brazil, such as all these different places that they're doing, such as the islands, such as the Caribbeans. That's why they're coming here. But most of them are forced to be here because either they're, their island, their land, their town, their country has been bombed, or they're forced to come here because of what? Trafficking. So it's not really like they have a choice. Most of them come here unwillingly, okay? And that's just a side fact. Like I said, in the next video, it will be more evidence, it will be more documents, it will be more pictures and videos that you can search up. But you can search this up and do research for yourself. Okay, so how does this work? They establish gangs. This is why the gangs are so common now. This is why we have different colors of gangs. We have the orange, we have the black, we have the red, we have the purple, we have the blue. But the main gang signs that we have, not even the main gang signs, the main gang contributors we have is red and blue. What does red and blue look like on the American flags? Republicans and Democrats. So that means the president, the government, the Republicans and Democrats know something about the gang-related and gang-affiliated people, okay? Because that's what they're doing. They're putting more money into the gangs. They're putting more money in distributing towards trafficking, towards slave labor, towards sex labor, and doing all the things that they know that's injustice towards every person and every civilian around this earth. So it's not just about, oh, they're monitoring your behaviors, they're monitoring your children, they're monitoring your ways of going out and coming back in, or just doing simple things on a day-to-day basis. No, they're monitoring the network system, and they're monitoring every progress you make, okay? So they're monitoring not just you, they're monitoring your people, your family members, your friends, your partners, your employees, your associates, all the people. They've been numbered, okay? They've been tracked And all that data they're keeping into the president's system, they're keeping into the government system, they're keeping into these elite systems, they're keeping it into the White House. So if it comes to be exposed, which probably will not. Not going to say too much about that because this video is not explaining what's going to be exposed and what's not. But this is how they do this. The gangs come and the gangs all get together. Of course they're going to say, you killed my people, or you killed this person, or you killed that person, so I'm going to get my revenge, or I'm going to get my lick back. But it's further than that, because the gangs, the reason why they clashed out and the reason why they went into different colonies, into different things, is because at first they were protecting the civilians of their people. You know what I'm saying? The Mexicans were protecting the Mexicans, the black people were protecting the black people, the Asians were protecting the Asians. But why do we have all these clashes and all these mixes? Because of course they come back and they be gossiping, they be doing the, you know, the little BS works that they be doing, and they be saying, and then they be like, okay, now you're gonna fight, because that's what we like to do. We like to turn people against one another. We like to turn people where they can be separated, and where they can have division, and where they can have a new policy. They have to have new rules and new laws to make up for their gains and divisions. So they made up new laws and new rules and things like that. Now a lot of this is not going to be exposed because necessarily nobody talks about this. Necessarily nobody truly knows about this. All they know is that we know some people and they know some people, and that's how we keep it just a secret, and that's how we just keep it, you know, like underground, where we sweep it up under the rug and nobody really talks about none of this. Now I'm not going to talk about mainly this because it's not the main topic, but I do know that Republicans, Democrats are all affiliated with the gangs, okay? And that's exactly how they come in, and that's exactly how they take the people from every nation, every religion, every culture, every single town. They come in, they take something from us, okay? So I want you to put that into your notes. If you're watching this and you're wondering what's going on with my children, you wonder what's going on with my father, what's going on with my cousin, what's going on with my auntie, what's going on with my brother, what's going on with my sister, this is what's going on. They're trapping you to be against one another, okay? Okay, so now I said that the people that started this, John F. Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, and Donald Trump. Now it's many more others. It is so many more others, because that's why they call the White House. The White House was literally called to be only white. Nobody's black supposed to be in the White House, and that is that's a gem. You can believe it or you can take it how you want to take it, but that's a gem. Nobody's white, nobody's black that's supposed to be in the White House. The White House was contributed so they can have authority over the black people. Black people means the people from the islands, the people from the Caribbeans, the people that are here that are African American, the people are completely black, the people that are half black, half Asian, the people that are Chinese, the people that are Portuguese, the people that are half Portuguese, half black. I'm talking about all the people. They were here to control all of us, okay? And they had to put us in separate colonies. Now, that's where the gangs come from, because they break it down into separate colonies, and they break it down into different sections and different rulers that's going to be, you know, placed over each colony or placed over each group. Now, once they do this, this is where they distribute the war, the BS, the craziness, right? This is where they distribute that. They tell us, okay, now you go in and you go see what is your people doing. You come back to us. We'll give you a bunch of money. We'll give you hand, houses, land, whatever you want. We'll give it to you. That's yours. Once they do, they come back, they tell you, they report, that's yours. Now you're famous, now you're out there, now you're this, now you're that, and you don't have to look back at your old life no more, because you're doing the things that we told you to do, or you're doing the things that we brought down and distributed for you to do. Now, the people back then, like I already said, your great-grandma, your great-grandpa, your great-grandfather, all of your people, they was all in some type of clan. Everybody was in some type of clan. Everybody was in some type of connection, because we were ditching the presidents, okay? Back then, they were ditching the presidents. Now, I don't believe it was the 80s, and I definitely don't believe it was the 60s, but it's around the 60s to 80s. They were ditching the president. They wasn't following his rules. They was boycotting. They was doing segregation. They was doing division. They was doing injustice, peace marks, protests, all types of things, okay? And that means everybody was in a clan to do those things. So while all these clans are going on, now we have the gang affiliations. The gang affiliations, like, you're gonna pay me up some drugs, you're gonna pay me up some money, you're gonna pay me up this, you're gonna pay me up that. And these people were doing research. These people came back to those, the FBI, the CIA, the people that are undergoing and studying, researching, and students that came back and they discovered this is where we could put in the hood. This is where we could put in, different places to get them to be violent, to get them to act discretion, to get them to act in a way that we want to control them. So every time they make a problem, they naturally want you to come back and solve it. No, they naturally want you to run to them so they can solve the problem. Okay? So I just want you to take that in, because that's what they've been doing forever, and that's what time's up. So, new tactic. Now, all the people, so like I said, this was because the documents about the truth had ancestors. The spirit was unleashed because the KKK system, because the reposition of the brutality of the police, the government system, the presidential system. They have always hated us, and it will never change. The main point is we have assembled spies. Yes, so they assemble spies and different agencies to come to collect as much as data, as much as information in every individual organization. So you might say, like, what type of organizations are there? There's many organizations. There's many different people that work for different claims. There's many different people that work for different companies. Now, every single person in there is not exactly your friend. It's not exactly your employee. It's not exactly your associate. They could be spying on you. So this is sometimes so you can watch out for their environment. Okay. The presidential system, they have always hated us and will never change. Well, we already know that. The main point are there are simple spies and agencies with an active, unactive locations, how much money people make, their relationships with different individuals, and this was controlled by the CIA, the FBI, the undercover agents. This was to break the unity of blacks, Latinos, Asians, Hispanics, Portuguese, Chinese, but mainly to do an environmental study on how to separate the minds of different human beings, to create distractions between them, to create distance between them, because we have been in poverty for a very long time and we were beginning to recover. So once you become into a very dark place for a very long time, any human, any animal, you'll see that they'll start to recover, start to try to work together to find a way out, to find a way into the light, to find a way out of the box. If you put a whole bunch of animals in a box together and tell them, okay, now you're going to stay right there, eventually those animals are going to stop fighting. They're going to stop just being lazy and laying around in a box, and they're going to find their way out to try to escape. And that's us. Once you put a human in a box, once you try to eliminate a human, the human is going to find a way to escape, find a way to come out and come into the light. So that's just normal. That's just life, okay? Okay, but this was the experimental control. So this was the mind control thing. So some of them come over here so they can do experiments on their bodies, so they can do experiments on their skin, so they can do experiments on their minds, so they can do experiments with them. And then some of them come over here so they can be test subjects. Okay, so what diseases can people outlast that are African, or that are Latino, or that are Chinese, or that are Portuguese, or that are just different cultures, right? What can you outlast? What can the body outlast, okay? What can the mind outlast? What makes everybody just crash? You know what I'm saying? And they've been doing a lot of experiments with the human mind for a very long time, because they want to know how is our mind controlled, and the levels and the different things of the mind. Okay, but that's a different video. This is not about the mind, and I can explain that. If y'all want me to explain that, y'all can put it in the comments. Explain more about what you're talking about, give me examples, give me evidence, and I can do that for you. But as of right now, this is about trafficking experiences, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you this. The trafficking experiences has just started, okay? And they're going to just end abruptly, okay? And I'm not talking about trafficking around the world. I'm not just talking about trafficking around the U.S. I'm talking about trafficking in general. Because everything is coming to a closure, and everything is becoming to be exposed, okay? And like, again, I'm not here to tell you what's going to be exposed and what's not going to be exposed, but I'm here to give you the evidence, and I'm here to give you the word before everything corrupts and fails, okay? If you're part of any type of trafficking, or you're part of any type of individual study, and if you're part of a group study, or you're part of the secret organizations, or you're part of the people that trafficking, these these words that I speak are for you, okay? These words that I speak are also for the people, so they can get a real understanding of what's going on. So you see children coming up missing, you see teens coming up missing, you see adults coming up missing, you see people in different, because they're doing different things with them. And this is also what I call in the, you know, in the other video I made, I believe it's called the Underground Railroad, or the Underground World. And if I didn't post it on my TikTok, because I know I'm definitely posting on my TikTok, so if you go on my TikTok page, I explained it towards the core and my understanding or my interpretation. But if you don't understand it, I can explain it some more, you know what I'm saying? Just let me know if you need another video. But like I said, this is no evidence, this is all pure facts, okay? And everything that I told you is going on right now as I speak. And this is actually pretty sad, because this is the biggest thing that's going on right now, besides, you know, the president, besides, you know, the corrupt weather we have, and just a lot of stuff that's probably going on in our daily lives, you know what I'm saying, like that. But this is the biggest thing now that's making a really huge impact, and that's going to make the news, okay? It's going to make the national TVs, and it's going to, and I don't want you to be surprised at this, because of the fact, and yes, I'm not here to expose this, but I'm just here to tell you the truth, okay? Because of the fact that they have been doing this to billions of children, and they've been doing this since slavery, and they think this is normal, because we, you know, when they come over here, they don't have anything to do. They don't have anything to do with the immigrants. They don't have anything to do with the people that are, you know, that are a little behind, or they might have some type of autistic disease or autism, something like that, and they don't know what to do with them, okay? So they would literally make them into a group of people, into an unknown place, so nobody will find them, no police will find them, no human being on earth will find them, and then do whatever they want to do with them, kill them, and you will never tell your story, you will never tell your testimony. But like I said, everything is changing. So eventually somebody's going to raise up. That's why I said we need to get groups, we need to get clans, so we can protest and we can speak about this. Now, if you don't know this already, this is what this is for, to get more people aware, to get more people to actually understand what is going on. So if you, this is why you need to be near your child 24/7, you need to be near your husband 24/7, you need to be near your girlfriend 24/7, because they have different tactics that they use to actually group individuals in, okay? So you can use, you know what I'm saying, you go to the gas station and you might see like a red tag or a red flag, you know what I'm saying, or something just weird, like you just feel the energy is off or the vibe is off, and they'll kidnap you, but they take you to an unknown place, an unknown location, because they don't want anybody to find you. And that's you know what I'm saying, then they'll sell you into another place, and you'll just keep going to these different places and vans and trucks, and nobody will even know, because nobody's paying attention, because nobody's aware of anything. Everybody act like they're slow dumb. Everybody's acting like they can't fight, or they can't participate in this. They can't raise or root awareness, or they can't just even call a conversation with this. Okay, now yes, this is risky to say, because it could be a whole bunch of people, but if God is for me, who can be against me? I am not scared of none of y'all. So I want y'all to understand this, that you need to be more aware of your surroundings, more aware of your environments, and you need to make an impact today. If you call yourself a Christian, you call yourself a Jewish, you call yourself a Muslim, you cannot let injustice happen in front of your face and not say a thing about it. And if you're a plain witness about injustice happening, like you know somebody that's in the trafficking experience, you know somebody that does work with these people or something in these organizations and stuff, you need to be saying something immediately. And you should not hold back, because every single time we take action, every single time somebody raises their voices, that's when the amount of people, the masses of people can fight back, okay? And that fighting back may look different to all of you, but violence is not the answer, okay? And if you think that violence is the answer and you want to use violence, then by all means necessary, use the violence. But I'm just saying, violence is not the answer to all cases, okay? Now, the biggest thing, I'm going to give you a biggest hint for some people that are watching, how I learned all of this, right? Main thing is, if you go onto the Netflix series or documentary series called They Cloned Tyrone, you can understand where these hidden places or these hidden houses and homes are. And that's just a few locations that they put. and they clone Tyrone. And that's just a few symbolisms that they put in They Clone Tyrone. And that's just a few hidden agendas that they put in They Clone Tyrone. In the Netflix series and the documentary series, They Clone Tyrone. Okay? And as always, I'll be back with more, and I'll be back to give you the amount of knowledge you need. But as always, good morning, good evening, and good night. I'll see you later.